Okay, so I figured out how I was going to do this, the final details. And this piece is the back. Got this all welded on now. And this was the piece that's rolled up. And so this one goes in on the back side like that. And then I'm going to weld right along this edge, right on that radius. And so what I did is I started with put some studs in here and a nut on the end to hold them in place. And then I put that in to the back. A couple nuts on the face of it here. Hold it in place. And then after I had everything lined up, I measured how much of the stud was sticking out. And then I marked it here, 9/16, 7/16 and a half inch. So after I got that part of it done, I removed it. And I cut some small pieces of pipe, whatever that dimension was. I took it off the stud length, and then another 8 because of the thickness of the metal here. So that's how I come up with the length of each one of those. After I got that done, I clamped and welded each piece, each one of those pipes in the right position, the right length, right position. And from there, you can put that inside, and so you see that pipe's going to prevent my molding from pinching down. So once I put my molding on the outside, this will go through and it won't collapse that or it won't dent this edge. Just a little extra you see the mat will go on. I'll clamp that on, then I'll trim that piece up a little bit better. I'll show you here. So I'll bolt that on, and then that piece will get welded right along that edge. So I'll get it all lined up in place, clamped down so it can't move. Then I'll take a grinder and just grind that edge so it's even with the rolled part. You see the rolled part on this end. It'll be even with that. And then I'll weld it. I don't know if you can see the spacer in there or not. There you go. So you can see what the spacers are doing for me. It'll keep that from collapsing when I tighten this down nice and tight. Hold that molding on. Just one extra little step, but I think it's worth it. So I'll show you the last one. It's the driver's side. I've welded 2 of them on already. So when I cut my pieces, I try to get them nice and square on the bottom. And then there's any little burrs in there, I can take them out like that. center it on my hole. Clamp it. I'm going to try to get it centered on that hole. It gives you a little movement with your screw when you put it in there, a little extra play. A couple taps. I'll go clean that up, grind these edges off a little bit. Okay, I've cleaned this up with lacquer thinner and sanded a little bit, and spray the back with, I'll prime the back because you won't be able to get back in there. After I get that painted, I'll put it on and we'll see what it looks like. So hopefully you can see this back here. So we got this hole here. And that's what I'm filling. I'm using this to fill in the back. So you can see there's a flange on top. And then I've got the spacers, which are just pipe welded on there. I primed everything. So it's ready to go in there. So that slides in just like that. And then these studs go through. That goes on the outside. That'll hold the molding on. But I'm using these temporary bolts and nuts to hold this piece in place while I weld it. So the studs are running straight through. These two planes are parallel to one another. So the stud runs straight through, attaches that molding, and it won't twist or bow. It'll just give me a nice solid mounting point for the molding. You might think it's a little overboard. It could be, but I guess that's the way I am. So hopefully you can see that. And you see how there's my pipe spacer inside, and these fasteners are running straight through. So when my molding sits on this plane here, it's going to be straight into it. It's not going to be cocked or so those spacers in there will do. So once I tighten that up, move it up and tighten it. Then I'll weld this edge. Then I'll pull the hood off and probably put just a few tacks back here later on, but that's going to be pretty solid even without the tacks. I might just run some panel adhesive back here. I don't know yet, but that's fitting pretty good. So I'm going to go, I'll go ahead and get this piece tacked in place at least. I may weld it later after I take it off. It'll be easier to lay it on a horse instead of welding upside down, but for now I'll get her tacked in place and I can get my molding on in front of it. That'll do it. Finish welding that after I take the hood off. Got it tacked on there pretty good right now. Tacked on all the way across. So next, clean the face of this up, take my screws out. So I'll finish this up, take those out, and I think I might just make me a new molding across the front. I think I'd rather have one that's just a little wider in the center and tapers down to this width on both sides, so it's more like the bumper. I might mock something up here yet tonight.